All right, let's look at section 3.3. In 3.3, we want to be able to divide polynomials. But before we do that, let's look at just an example of just long division with regular numbers. Like maybe it might ring a bell for you. It might have been a while since you've done one of these, but let's look at this. Let's do 729 divided by 5. Okay, so the way we would do this is going to be the same way we're going to do this with polynomials. It just looks a little different. So here we would say that 5 will go into 7 one time, and then 1 times 5 is 5. Okay. Then we want to subtract that 5. Okay, so 7 minus 5 will give us 2. And then we bring down our next digit. So now we're looking to see how many times 5 will go into 22. So 5 will go into 22 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. We're going to subtract. And we get 2. Bring down our next digit. So now we see how many times 5 will go into 29. That will go in 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25. We subtract. And we're left with 4. So there are a couple of different ways we could write this. We could just say we have a remainder of 4. Or we could say we take 4 over 5, our divisor. So we could say it goes in 145 and 4/5 times, right? So the remainder over the divisor is one way you can do that also. Okay, so now let's look at the same thing but with polynomials. Okay. So we want to divide this thing, 6x squared minus 26x minus 12 by x minus 4. Okay, that's what we're after here. So the one we're dividing by is the one that goes out in front of the little house symbol. Okay, so we have x minus 4 out here. We'll do our little house. And then the one we're dividing is 6x squared minus 26x minus 12. Okay. So now we're just going to go through the same process here. Okay. So what we're going to look at is we're going to look at this leading term, this x term, and we're going to see how many times it will go into the leading term of the one underneath the house. Or another way of thinking about that is, what do we have to multiply x by so that we end up with 6x squared? Okay, so it's just 1x. So we've got to multiply by 6. And then to get x squared, we also have to multiply by x. Okay. So now we multiply. When we multiply, we're going to multiply the 6x by every term we have out front. So we'll do 6x times x. 6x squared. That's what we want. That should always match. 6x times negative 4 is negative 24x. Okay. So at this point, with the just numbers and no variables, we would subtract. And it's just really important that when we subtract here, that we subtract both of the terms we have down here. So another way of saying that, instead of thinking about it as subtraction, you can think about it as changing the signs. Okay? And then we just combine like terms. So 6x squared minus 6x squared, that gives us 0. So we don't have to write anything down. Then we have minus 26x plus 24x. That's going to give us negative 2x. Okay? And we just repeat the process over. Okay? So now we're looking to see what do we need to multiply x by to get negative 2x. That's minus 2. We multiply everything out front by this minus 2 that we've written here now. So negative 2 times x. Well, I forgot a step. We need to bring down our next number here. Sorry, I skipped that. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And then negative 2 times negative 4, positive 8. We want to subtract. And the way we do that is we change the sign. So this becomes plus, this becomes negative. Okay? Then we combine like terms. So negative 2x plus 2x is 0. We have negative 12 minus 8. It gives us negative 20. And now we're finished. The way I know that we're finished is that this thing I have down here, this remaining number I have down at the bottom, has a degree that is less than the thing we're dividing by. So the thing we're dividing by has a degree 1, right, x to the first power. This number down here that we're left with, okay, this number right here, I'm comparing these two. Okay, the number we're left with down here, negative 20, doesn't have an x, so that's like x to the 0th. So as soon as the degree of what you've got left down here is smaller than the degree of the thing up here that you're dividing by, you know you're finished and that this negative 20 down here is our remainder. Okay, so since this negative 20 is our remainder, we're going to write it kind of that maybe a little bit strange looking way that you saw before. We'll say that x minus 4 will go into this polynomial 6x minus 2 times, okay, and then plus our remainder, which is negative 20, over our divisor, which was x minus 4. Okay. You don't always have a remainder. Sometimes this thing will be 0 and you won't have to worry about the remainder, but if you do have the remainder, you're going to just write the remainder over the divisor, and you can just always write plus here.